Well, hi there, North Texas. We do have our WFA Weather Alert Day for today. These storms are already ongoing, and some of the impact from these storms that we could still be seeing later this afternoon will include up to golf ball size hail, wind gusts of 60 miles an hour plus. In fact, we've already seen a wind gust as high as around 68 miles an hour. That was near Salina and Collin County. A few tornadoes will also be a possibility come later this afternoon and evening. And we're also looking at heavy rain and flooding. We've already seen some areas of flash flooding in some of our North Texas counties. So what you need to do is just continue to stay updated with the latest forecast, have a way to receive any additional warnings that do come out. And the best way to do that is by downloading the WFA Plus app. So right now we do have that tornado watch that does include some of our eastern counties until 5 o'clock this afternoon. So at least the silver lining with some of these storms is that as we go throughout the day and the storms continue to push off to the east, the tornado threat will also continue to push off to the east. So this does not include Dallas or Fort Worth. However, it does include the possibility of flooding. We do have that flood watch for all of our northern counties, and includes the Metroplex, both Dallas and Fort Worth, because these storms are moving slowly off to the east and they're training over some of the same areas for quite a while. So that is why we've already seen some flooding, and we could still see additional flooding as we go throughout the afternoon. Looking at the past 6 hours of satellite and radar, you can see all of the rain and storms starting out to the west, and since then the coverage has really expanded. The intensity has come up quite a bit as well. You can see there's a very electrical storms. There's quite a bit of lightning. They are very loud, and lightning can cause problems on its own. We've already seen one structure fire reported from some of this lightning. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning. Zooming in just a little bit closer, that includes Collin, Fannin, Grayson, and Hunt counties. That's until 11 o'clock this morning. So these storms are making their way off to the east at around 25 miles an hour. I'm going to ask Greg Fields off to the side if he could do a storm track for me. What we want to do is show you where these storms are going to be in the next hour or so. So what we're going to do is push these storms off to the east, again about 25 miles an hour. Bottom, the storms are right at your door, but eventually down the line we're looking at Farmersville at 10:32, Wolf City at 10:57, Greenville at 11:15, Sumner at 11:29, Paris at 11:49, Reno at 12:01, down the line closer to about 12:30 or so, Sulphur Springs, and then Bogota at about 12:50. So these storms will continue to slowly move off to the east. Again, they're not moving very fast. What I've got here is our velocity product, and what I'm looking for is any wind, any brighter colors of the reds or the greens, and we were certainly seeing that about 20 minutes or so ago, but since then the winds actually come down. We could still see wind gusts as high as around 60 miles an hour, but at least right now there's not one particular spot that's standing out to me. Looking at our hail product, I'm also really not seeing a whole lot of that going on. You can kind of see a little bit there, maybe along the Red River. That's going to be north and west of Bonham, but that's also some good news. This hasn't been a very big hail producer, at least so far, but the potential for large hail is still there as we go throughout the afternoon. This is our flash flood warning. In fact, we have several of those. First, we've got Cook and Monte counties until 10:45. They've already seen quite a bit of rain, and we're not done with it just yet. We keep seeing these storms redevelop on the backside as they move off to the east. So we also have Jack and Wise counties under a flash flood warning. That goes until 12:30 this afternoon. Look at all of this rain. This is going to be very heavy torrential rain, and this is not going to stop anytime soon. You do not want to be caught out in this. This is DFW, and notice these storms are moving off to the east, and they're going to be at DFW here in the next 15 to maybe 20 minutes. Again, lots of lightning, some very heavy rainfall. Could still see some wind gusts of maybe about 40 miles an hour or so, but currently the storms moving into DFW are not severe. We're going to continue to move off to the south and west, and notice again just some very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning, maybe some wind gusts as high as around 40 to upwards of around 50 miles an hour, but again not really seeing a whole lot that looks like we're going to see that severe wind gusts, at least not just yet, but that can change later this afternoon. So what we're going to do is show you the time cast. This is going to be noon today. And we still have basically that line of storms all across the Metroplex. So it's slowly going to be moving off to the east. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And what we notice is the intensity coming up a little bit more. We're also noticing these little isolated storms out ahead of the main line. That's when we could actually see that tornado threat increase. So we're going to be watching that very closely. The good news is by about 5 o'clock, the Dallas and Fort Worth Metroplex, it looks like we should be pretty much done with the storms, but there still will be storms just to the south and east. Very electrical. These are going to be very strong. They're going to have some very heavy rainfall and possibly some hail. And again, the tornado threat will continue to shift farther off to the east later this afternoon and evening. This is going to be 7 o'clock this evening, and we notice a few more showers and storms trying to develop in some of our northwest counties, but eventually that goes away. So now looking at 9 o'clock, maybe an isolated shower on the backside, but that's not going to be severe. So eventually overnight tonight, yes, we are going to see clearing skies. Things are going to be nice and quiet. And for your Thursday, we're going to stay quiet. But for today, we have that enhanced risk for severe weather all across the Metroplex and areas off to the east for up to golf ball size hail, wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. But a few tornadoes cannot be ruled out. Again, also expecting quite a bit of rainfall with these. We could still see an additional inch to a couple of inches across the Metroplex. But today, later today, we think that we could see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches, and some of our northeast counties isolated totals upwards of around 5 inches. So for today, scattered thunderstorms that are already moving through. Temperatures will struggle to get out of the 70s this afternoon. And then overnight tonight, clouds decrease, temperatures drop down into the low 60s. Looking at your 14-day forecast, tomorrow's going to be a nice day, much quieter, but showers and storms do return for your Friday. That severe threat is going to be much lower. This weekend looks really nice. Honestly, it's looking drier and drier with the data coming in. And then by the time we get to next week, it is looking a little bit more unsettled. But so far, it does look dry for Mother's Day. We also obviously know that a lot of people are out on the roads. We're going to get some backups with this rain coming in. Brianda, how's traffic looking?
So yes, the roads are looking pretty slick out there. So take a look here. Here's a live look in Collin County. This is in McKinney, 75 at Virginia Parkway South. So going northbound and going southbound, a lot of red roads out there. It will be slick as you head out the door. So turn on those headlights. Definitely give yourself enough time between you and the car in front of you, just in case you do have to hit those brakes. So that was a live look in McKinney. This is in Anna. Let me step out of the way here so you could see how the roadways are looking, and visibility will be low in these areas right now. As I mentioned, in McKinney, we saw the same thing there. I want to flip through a couple more cameras just so you could see what the rest of our area looks like. This is over in Denton County, Louisville, near Louisville, and you could just see kind of like the rain on the roadways, cars going through it. I do always want to let people know, like, if you see some ponding on the sides of the roadways, just don't go through it. Sometimes it does cause some hydroplaning. So if you can try to stay in these middle lanes, it will avoid issues. But again, that was a live look 35E at FM 407 northbound and southbound near Louisville. Moving on to a look here in Roanoke. It does look a little bit better, at least condition-wise, here at Highway 114 US 377 at Roanoke. I'm not seeing any delays in this area, which is great news. Eastbound or westbound, no major accidents to worry about right now. I do want to give you an update, though, to a crash that we've been following all morning long. It was affecting 30. It was affecting 30 in Arlington. So you could see, I'll go back to this in just a second, but there is an update. Okay, here we go. There is an accident that cleared heading eastbound at 30. It was near exit 26. We were covering it all throughout the morning. It was a crash involving a semi-truck, and it actually spilled fuel onto the road. So crews were out there for hours, guys. It actually started around 3, just before 3 a.m. It is now 10:23. So it took a while for crews to be able to clear that up. But you can see there's no delays here anymore. Right now, I am seeing that the Fort Worth roads here are dry. There is that typical delay that we see almost every single day around this time in the morning, northbound and southbound 35W to and from downtown Fort Worth. But we did hear about hail. All right, so if you do find yourself driving in some hail, here are some tips for you. First, pull over. Don't try to get out of your car. Make sure you stay inside and angle your car so that the windshield is facing the way that the hail is actually hitting you. The windshield is a little bit stronger than the windows on your car, so that's why officials say to angle your car that way. Also, if you can, try to lie down if you have a blanket or if you have a jacket available. You can also put that over your head to try to protect yourself. But I do want to toss it on over to our reporter, Janelle Fort, who is out in Denton County. Janelle, what are you seeing? What can you tell us?
Well, Brianda, we have been on the move throughout the morning. We started this morning in Fairview, worked our way west to Denton County and Denton, following kind of into the storm, saw some pretty dark clouds. And then we are now back on our way towards Collin County. So we're headed eastbound on 380, again, back towards Collin County. You can see our windshield wipers working overtime at this point. We've seen heavy rain off and on throughout the morning. Fortunately, we haven't seen any lightning or heard any thunder as of yet, but you can see just how slick the roads are just looking outside of our windshield. Water is starting to pool in those outside lanes, especially near dips and on-ramps, and drivers around us, fortunately, have been taking it pretty slow this morning, which is exactly what you should be doing in conditions like this. I know Brianda was giving some tips earlier. I want to add a few to her list. If you are about to leave the house, here's what you need to know. You're going to want to build in some extra time because this wet weather is likely going to stick around for a while. You've been hearing our meteorologists talk about this. The other thing, turn on your headlights. You're looking outside, you can see most of the cars have theirs on, which is really good. You see brake lights here. It's really important, especially as we're dealing with low visibility in a lot of areas throughout the Metroplex. And then finally, I told you guys about that ponding. You need to watch for high water. You never want to drive through it. Even at just a few inches can cause you to lose control. I know that as we've been driving, we've hit a few of those pooled areas, some of those spots where that ponding is happening, and it's caused us to slow down a bit, jerk a little bit in our car, and that's exactly what you don't want to happen while you're driving in this. You can see the rain starting to pick up a little bit here. Windshields working even harder than they were when we first started this live shot here. So again, if you are headed out, be mindful of the fact that the weather is bad right now. It's not ideal driving conditions. Take your time, be patient, and stay safe. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio. I think I'm sending it to Cassie, maybe Greg, I know one of the meteorologists, to give us a better look at where this storm is going. Producer just came in my ear, said it's Greg. Greg, are we headed in the right direction? Should we head towards Collin County? Is that where kind of the storm is concentrated right now?
There, Janelle. And to answer your question, yeah, the leading edge of that storm is a little farther east into Collin County right now, and we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning that's been extended until 11 a.m. now. For that area from Collin, Fannin, Grayson, Hunt County now included in that. This goes until 11 a.m. You see coming down into the Metroplex down towards South Lake, approaching DFW Airport. We do have that the showers and storms approaching DFW, but the severe thunderstorm warning will focus in on that area. Along the leading edge, we could see some 60-plus mile-per-hour winds associated with this. So again, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 11 a.m. Collin County included in that, and you see Fannin, Grayson, and Hunt as well. So as we get back down toward Collin County there from Anna down to Frisco, the heavier rain and storms have moved through your area, but the leading edge a little farther east now, getting over the far eastern parts of Collin County. You're going to have some heavy rain. We'll talk about that in just a bit, but as we put that storm track on there and you see some of the areas that will be impacted here over the next 30 minutes to an hour or so, Farmersville, Celeste heading out toward Commerce around 11:28 or so. This complex of storms moving to the east at around 25 miles per hour or so. That will head out toward Blossom, Clarksville as we head toward noontime, a little bit after that as well. So these are going to be approximate times, but again, you can expect some strong winds, maybe up over 60 miles per hour. Some small hail associated with these as well, maybe up to nickel size hail associated with this as well, along with very heavy rain and frequent lightning with these storms. Now let's talk a little bit more about the flooding potential. That flash flood warning still in effect for Cook and Montague counties until 10:45 here this morning. We've already seen some very heavy rain in this area, and more heavy rain you see just over the southern part of Cook County there, just south of Gainesville along Highway 82 there, and heading down into Denton County as well, picking up some heavier rain in the northern part of Denton County down towards Sanger here. So that's the flash flood warning that we have until 10:45, and a little farther south down toward Jacksboro over into Wise County, looking at a flash flood warning in effect. This one is until 12:30, so we'll have that potential for some flooding in winds on some areas, multi-inch range raining over the same areas. This is the area that picked up a lot of the rain overnight, and this is kind of along the tail end of this line of storms that's moving through. So it's beginning to slow down. So I think flooding may be more of a concern in some places a little farther south and west. The leading edge has been moving a lot faster. That's where we do have those strong winds out ahead of this, but back into the Metroplex and areas a little farther west, heading out toward Weatherford right now. Some heavy rain beginning to push into your area there, certainly for Parker County, the northern part of that, just north of Weatherford. We will have some heavy rain, but that moves over toward Saginaw, out toward South Lake, approaching DFW Airport. So we are starting to see the rain and storms impact the area airports as far as travel is concerned. So definitely going to have some delays the remainder of today with this line of storms as it works its way on in down toward